Today we have with us Marouane from Solana Foundation, as well as Gennaro from MELD, and I'll be doing the moderation, and Eloi from Barcelona, and I work at Open for this. Do you want to first introduce a bit more?
Hello everyone, my name is Gennaro. I'm head of finance at MELD. We are a DeFi protocol and we are launching very soon a neobank which will have integrated a non-custodial crypto wallet. So with this new bank, it will be possible to create a bridge between traditional finance and the crypto world, and it will be possible to run on and off straightaway crypto to your bank account.
Hello everyone, my name is Marouane. I work at Solana Foundation as a grant development representative. So I'm here to talk about fundraising and treasury management. And I'm pretty excited to go into the topic because this is one very interesting, because we talk about money, and money, everyone is interested about money, so let's go.
So let me first ask you the main question here, which so we'll start big, which is what is the main difference? What would you say is the main difference between the fundraising in Web2 and Web3? So what's the main difference in fundraising in traditional projects compared to projects that are in blockchain space?
So I would say, if you compare Web2 to Web3, Web2 has already its foundation, and most of the investors knows how the game works. So they have the code, they have everything to go by, and you can learn how to invest in Web2, which in Web3 we still are trying to find how to raise money, how to have successful project with fundraising, how to do it correctly, and we still are looking at what tools we have to understand it. So I guess the main difference between Web2 and Web3 is that Web3 is still looking at its foundation and trying to understand how to fundraise correctly and what are the main topics that we need to look at to fundraise some project, because as we all know, in Web3 we're still developing a whole new way of use like the blockchain and everything around. But in Web2, we already know, like, if you come with a new idea, the foundation will be the same as the other one. But in Web3, you can come with a whole new idea, and people won't even know if it's worth investing or not, even if it's the biggest idea of the next 10 years. We're still looking for something in Web3.
What I think generally is that actually Web3 is still quite young world. So actually Web2 usually works more on number of users, number of people using a specific application, or using, in this case, a specific part of the web. So on the side of Web3, I think is very, very hard, because the number of users using, for example, the centralized application, or navigating on this new web, or people who are able to interact with Web3 is still limited, and so convince a VC to buy your project, based, for example, on the traditional way of the Web2, how many users you have already, how many customers you have already. This is quite hard. I think this is the big difference, that maybe there are other criteria that can be used to sell a Web3 project to respect a Web2 project. Maybe Web3 project is more easy to be sold on the potentiality of this project, on the future of this project, considering that this is still very, very, very new. This is a very new world. When I speak to someone, I say, I have two nephews. One has 19, and when I speak to him about Web3, he more or less doesn't understand things. But when I speak to my nephew who is 14-year-old, he already is in this world. So this is the world for the future. So we still need to find maybe some innovative way to finance company. From my personal experience, I worked for MELD, and MELD was a pioneer on one of the way to raise capital. We did an ISPO in Cardano, which is the initial staking pool offer. So people call delegate Cardano in a pool, and the project who has been financed can take up to 1% of this full pool. So maybe we still need to find this kind of alternative to finance a Web3 company in a different way, respect the traditional way.
I will just add something, like, to give you an example that will talk to most of you. When you have the Web2 project pitching, in his pitch deck, you can see, like, okay, we have this number of users in this topic, and we want to grab some to come to our project. While when you have pitch deck in Web3, you compare the Web2 users and say, okay, so we want them. Imagine if they come, you project yourself in the future. While in Web2, you don't project yourself in the future, you plan to do something. So you see that's not really the same thing when you compare the pitch decks.
Okay, so yeah, we agree that they're like kind of different now between Web2 and Web3. Like the main idea or the main topic is that in Web3 we still don't know we still don't know how we will raise capital, or if there are like many like different ways. One interesting is the ISPO that MELD did. So, and apart from that strategy, do you know any other strategy that you particularly in Solana or MELD used, or maybe other people used? Or how do you think DeFi plays a role here? I mean, apart from fundraising, is like you said, how can you combine DeFi with this fundraising or treasury, for example?
So us at Solana, we work a lot on how we can make project be successful based on their milestone when we give grants, for example, and we try to understand what's in the middle between grants and investment. So we created something called converted grants, and this is something that when a project comes to us and wanted a grant but might be successful on the long-term run, if they want to keep it as a grant, it will still be a grant. But when they are going to fundraise, the grant will convert into some shares of the project. So that's something that when you work with a project, it's way more liberty, way more flexible, and way less pressure, because when you try to raise funds for founders, it's really a lot of pressure. But when you tell them, okay, so we give you some money, if you're successful, we're successful with you, but if you don't worry, it will still be a grant, and that's a lot of pressure for the founders. So that's one of the things that we thought about. Right now, it's pretty cool because a lot of project comes towards us talking about converted grants, and we tend to not just to answer the end of the question. We tend to not have DeFi into fundraising. We tend to do it the normal way, the Web2 way, like raising money with USDC, fiat, or Solana for Solana. We're not looking to go more into DeFi. Maybe later we're going to develop our way, but right now we don't have.
Yeah, I think on the side of DeFi, a lot of projects maybe use it as a staking pool to raise part of their capital or to make possible to develop some of their activities. For example, in my case, I was working before in Lapreda. They created this very big stake pool in Sushi's Go. People could provide liquidity using collaterals, using Ethereum, and part of this reward eventually was given to the users half or less than half of these resources, then we'll use it to internally develop some of the activity related to the company. So I think that as Web3 is the world of decentralization, anyone can support a project if they believe in this project. Naturally, we are speaking about viscous products sometimes, right? Sometimes it's possible that people start a staking pool just for the idea because like a project, but then the project is not going forward, the value of the token is going down, and they lost most of their investments. But still, what I say in the future, for the future, I see that normal people like us could potentially use part of their savings maybe to support the project on Web3.
And well, as maybe this is more for the foundation, and how important is tokenomics in order to see if you can give a grant to a project that has some sort of token in it, or how important it was for MELD, or what are the main difference or what main things that you look for when you're looking at tokenomics on paper?
So I'll be very direct with this question, is that right now our focus as Solana Foundation is to grow our infrastructure. So most of the projects, if not all, are not focused on tokens, and most of them do not have tokens. And when I see a project with a token, sorry, it might be a hot take, but I'm someone who's not really into investing into a token, because having a token, especially a governance token, means a lot, and we still are looking into how it works. Like, for example, DAO, we have a lot of topic subject that we still don't know how it works correctly, and we're throwing money into it, just throwing money into it. So right now, as the one who's reviewing projects, I'm not giving money for tokens if the project doesn't go beyond it. If you have a very big infrastructure, everything is settled, you have a great idea, and you have a 10 out of 10 in your overall application, if there is a token, okay, it's not a problem. We'll have a call with you, talk about it, and be sure that you won't put everything in the LP and lose everything because no one is talking about your project. So tokenomics, governance token, for me is a bit of a red flag when you're trying to invest right now. Maybe later, but right now for me it's not.
What I think generally about tokenomics, about using token, generally a bit the same thought I have about NFT. What is the utility of this token? I think many of us tried to buy token when they were very low, when someone was promoting this token, with the hope to make money on this token. But then this token was circulating for some reason. Someone was using this token, to start a transaction, to buy something, to buy a service, something like this. So, I think most important things is to understand how, which is the real utility of a token when you go to work on the tokenomics of the project. On our side in MELD, our idea is, as we launch also lending and borrowing, we launched our own subnet blockchain. So our idea is in the future to use this token to approve transaction. So it will be a native token of our own blockchain, and people can use this token to approve a transaction within our blockchain. And then because we become also a subnet, we are trying also to attract some developer to start to build some dApps on our own blockchain. And in this case also the token should take a new utility, a wider utility, and also I think the variability of the price of the token is based on this, how much token is circulating, because it's used in the real economy.
Then I also have a question regarding security. So I know that in traditional treasury, like you have like most of the time you have like a bank or someone like protecting the assets for you as well. But then because Web3 is all about like protecting your own funds, like you can like theoretically like, do that if you want, or you can delegate that to someone else. But how does this translate to like in big projects? You know, how do big projects manage their treasury and funds? Like, do you have any recommendation or anything you want to share about this?
Yeah, so in this question I have two answers. The first one will be fast, is that we have centralized way to keep the money, and we have decentralized one with the hot wallet, etc. And in the middle of it, we still don't have anything. We need a tool for someone to create something. Maybe you will talk about the multi-sig wallet. That's the best way to do it, but still I don't have any answer on how to be fully secure about your treasury. We had the talk like earlier about we don't want them to keep our funds, but I think the real question is where are you the most I forgot the word in English, but à l'aise in French, like where do you think your money should belong when without thinking about it every single day? If you're okay with being centralized, go centralized. If you're okay with being decentralized, go with being decentralized. So I think we still don't have the right tools for groups to do it. Now I'm going to go into the second part of the security of your funds, but maybe that's the question you're going into. But if you have a treasury with your project, the most important thing is to have a big runway. I would say if you want to last for the next 5 years, have enough funds to pay your team for the next 7 years. So that way, if you have a problem or anything like that, you have a margin to be able to play with the money and be sure that you'll be able to pay your team for the next 5 years. Always have more than what you expect to have in a few years. That's something I think is very important. And if you have even more, do whatever you want, play with it, but at least have enough for the timing that you set, for the runway that you share with your team.
Yeah, I think each company, each management has its own perception of risk, and this is one of the elements which is most affecting the management of crypto holding in the company, right? In some previous experience, the rules that we had, anytime we received a cryptocurrency, we had to swap this in a stable coin straight away, right? Because our profile of risk was very, very low. We don't want risk. Also, if we in the future could benefit of the growth of the value of the token, anyway, keep the token could be quite risky, right? Also, an SBM market actually is, I think, is lending to us, right? So I think treasury management mostly is based on the perception of the risk that management has in terms of holding crypto value, and then I agree on the side to have a double vision, have a on-chain accounting and off-chain accounting, on-chain treasury, off-chain treasury. This is important because effectively you need to know what is the availability of your company, how it's working, as you said, how is working your runway, how you can extend your runway, and for sure there are a lot holdings that are not safe, and also you can't rely so much on the token, on your own token that you are holding, because these are all virtual amounts that one day could be billions, the day after could be just 1 million. So most important, I think, is this: understand well what you need operationally, work off-chain with this part of treasury, and then have on-chain treasury, which is more related to your tokenomics, more related to keep crypto, holding crypto for strategic reasons.
Yeah, so something interesting about stability and volatility. I'm interested in, like, for example, in grants. Do you like give grants in SOL, or do you give it in stablecoins, or are the teams that receive such grants able to transform or swap those tokens to stables, or if they get stables, are they allowed to swap them to like other tokens? And how does that work? I mean, how do you manage volatility in treasury?
So when we give grants, we don't manage the treasury for the project because they are on their own. When we invest, it's different because we have a whole team behind the project, following the whole project. But when we give grants, it's like, okay, we're giving you this amount of money because you asked for it. You have to complete the milestone. If you ask us for 10K and you spend 10K into buying your Lamborghini, it's not the price, but going into parties or buying foods or anything like this, and in the end you complete the milestone, it's okay, because we want to see the project grow and not, we don't look at how you spend the money, even though we have a budgetary cap on how you plan to do it, so that's why we have a whole idea. But to answer the question, we give money in 4 different types, like fiat, USDC, SOL, or locate SOL. Because sometimes some projects just want some locate SOL for, I don't know, validators or things like that. So
They ask.
Huh?
They ask for it.
Yeah, they have a way to choose what they want, and we can see sometimes even the milestone. For example, if you have 2 milestones and you ask from 10K, maybe if we give you 5K for the first milestone, and then the first one is complete, and then we give you the second part of it. So there is not a lot of volatility. The only one will be SOL, but that's our native token, so we have no choice.
Yeah, on our side, I would say that we recently also started some partnership where we were paying on that token, and often it's quite hard to understand what is the exchange rate that you should use for a payment, or which is the correct date you should use to make a payment, and this can make quite a big difference. If it's time difference of 1 month, the token could go quite down, and you are giving out a lot of token more. So I think doesn't exist a general rule for this, actually, at least in my company. But maybe the idea is to maybe define a good quantity which is not affecting then your tokenomics too much.
And I don't know if you said that already, but apart from the ISPO, did you get any grant from any other chain that you're participating? Like, did MELD receive any grant? Or?
No, we didn't receive any grants, but as we raised capital, we raised it through private token sales before the token was listed. So we are completely financed from the market.
Well, one question that came to my mind is that do you have any particular story that you'd like to share about fundraising? Any maybe hack or something that happened maybe as a like a chain that has like a foundation from a chain, or maybe MELD that you're not like a final project yet, but maybe something that you'd like to share, like some interesting I don't know, story about fundraising.
I don't know, on my side I can just a funny story that's happened recently, that someone approached us to bought tokens with OTC formula, so with the capped price, and we started discuss with this person, and this discuss go forward for a couple of weeks, and then just Googling the way he was communicating to us, we discovered that he's coming already a lot of people with the same method, and so yeah, the market is done also a lot of scammers around and trying to take token for free or to scam you. No, we blocked it.
No, I have multiple funny stories, but in the end, I have like dozens of applications every day. So I have some people just asking for money just to buy them a house. We had someone who asked money to send some scientists on Mars. We had a lot of strange, and sometimes even people come, and when they want to complain, they just complain in the application like, oh, this guy is in the application. Like, okay. They are like, okay, the mail won't go through, the tweets don't go through, so I'll go through the application, and that's funny, it goes into the spam. So.
Does anyone have a question for that regarding fundraising?
Hi, Patrick here. One question regarding, so what do you think, is there a difference between Web2 and Web3 when it comes to early stage startups that approach to get funding? So it's right now like a way to do it without a kind of an MVP or prototype. You accept, in your experience, founders that come only with an idea. That's what happened in the beginning with Web2. I don't know how mature is the ecosystem to accept this kind of founders.
So it depends. If the idea is something very interesting, like something we still don't have on our chain, we always have a call with the applicant, and then we talk, and maybe we talk about the amount. Let's see, like for example, someone has a great idea, but haven't done anything yet. We're just going to go and talk with him or her, and just tell him to do something before going into the process. Like give us a proof of you can do it, and then later on we can go, as I said, with different milestones and see how this guy will complete the milestones. So this is very rare because I'm not asking for always have an MVP, proof of work or anything like that, but at least have a kind of background, like participating into hackathon could be something, like attending some IRL event, not something quite little, but at least that means you were interested into the ecosystem, you're doxing yourself. That's something that shows that you're part of it. That's a little thing, but it depends, and usually we take the decision when we have a call with the applicants. So we have a clear idea of what we can do more.
Yeah. Any other question?
So Marouane, if I understood correctly on the convertible grants, is it the option of the foundation if they convert or not into equity? But I'm assuming it's equity given that you said you want to invest in token project. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I'm curious then, as you said, if you succeed, we succeed. This means that you are aiming for financial return for the foundation. So what is your exit strategy with that, and what message do you think it sends when the foundation sells the shares of the Solana startup?
So first of all, I'm not the one who's going beyond after the moment we give the money. I'm not the one who will take the decision on we sell, we do. I'm just the one who will help on is the project worth until we give the money, and then I'm following them. But I'm not the one who will take the financial decision on whether we're going to sell shares or anything like that. And that's not the foundation that takes the decision on if the grants will turn into equities or shares. It depends on the project. If they are going to fundraise, we're going to tell them, okay, so you wanted a covered grant, because if you just want a grant and then do fundraising, you can. So you stay on the grant, and then later on you do fundraising. You were not involved into it. But when you are into converting grant, the project knows that they will sell us shares and equity. So, and we're very flexible. So if sometimes they want to sell less or maybe give less to the foundation compared to the amount of grant they have, we always take care of what's going on and have a call with the users and be sure that the project in the end is going the right way. We're not here to get money. Of course, it's a business, it's a company. So in the end, that's what matters. But we still want to grow the ecosystem in the correct way. So we're really into communication and understanding what's the best way to deal with the converting grant with the project and information.
Sure. Well, I'm curious about this, if there were discussions internally about the message that it sends. You have seen, for instance, how everybody scrutinizes Vitalik's sales, for instance. In this case, if the foundation ends up selling the shares on a secondary, maybe it would be less of a signal at the time. But I'm curious what the perspective was on that. The foundation basically divesting from a project that is active in the ecosystem.
I've never been part of it, so I'm really sorry. I won't be able to answer this question because I've never been part of it. I've never took part of selling shares or anything like that. I really do stop at the moment when we give money and I follow the project. Right after investment.
Somebody want to ask anything else? Go ahead. So now, what would you say would be like the industries or the narratives that you are more interested to invest on? That's one question. Second one is you are looking for more specific, very targeted solutions, or you're still looking for more like generalistic solutions, like DeFi is generalistic. You're looking for kind of targeting some kind of user based on lifestyle or something. So that's the question.
So right now at the foundation we don't have RFPs. We just let people come with their ideas and then try to find people into the ecosystem to build with them. And two things we put to work on is being a public good. So what I mean by being a public good is being able to push the whole community, the whole ecosystem forward. If you're creating a project, you have multiple ways of being a public good. For example, just by being open source, letting other project building on the top of yours, or maybe being able to gather people through towards an idea or something that makes the ecosystem grow. Like being a public good is something really important for us, being open source as well, because we really want people to, when they come on Solana, being able to have all of the tools for free to create and build something for the whole ecosystem. So right now our focus is the growth, and I think that I answered everything.
Second one, more specific, potentially more specific investments or more general?
Not right now. We're not very specific. we were open to everything, and I mean, I'll speak on my side. For me, not for foundation, I like to see a lot of different infrastructure projects, the ones that enable us to use daily the apps easily. Like if you're using your phone and you have to wait 10 seconds for your app to load, or you have to go through MetaMask or Phantom to go through something, for me it's something that we need to grow today. And we have some apps that you can like download on your Google Play Store or Apple Store, and they are Web3 apps, but they are seamless, and that's something for me that we should focus on, being able to bring people into Web3, using Web3 apps seamlessly will be a very big win for everyone, and that's where I think we can get like global adoption, maybe a slow one, but at least it will happen.
You land with something that you said, like, do you have any like, new technology or idea that you think it's going to like, be like a breakthrough, like, I don't know, like zero knowledge proof, like on abstractions, artificial intelligence, things like that? What do you think will be the next big thing in the next bull market, for example?
I think there are, you know, to answer to this question, I can bring some more example from my previous experience when I was working in that radar. As I was working a lot on revenue shares from decentralized application, I had the opportunity to really explore this decentralized application. And often what I did the click out, I connect my crypto wallet to see effectively what developers were creating in this world, right? Some things I was really attracted at that time, and I still develop to this, is the part of social media. A lot of social media are already built on the blockchain, most of them on Hive blockchain. One of these is Picti, right? This is, I think, a very good example of decentralization, because if you go around on Picti, there's another one called DTube, which is very similar to YouTube, right? People can give a like, or with a like, people can give a fraction of a cryptocurrency, which has a correspective in dollars, right? So this is open to real decentralization, because actually if we see traditional social media like Facebook or Instagram, right? You are posting content, these are your content, right? Maybe you will tag something, let's say in my case I play music too, right? So today I go to my studio, I do a video, and I start to tag all brands of musical instruments, right? And they start to monetize on me. Facebook start to monetize me, and these brands will start to monetize on me. While maybe on Web3, when people start to like my post, and maybe some brand will post my post, maybe I will start to monetize on this, because people just don't give me a like or a F, they give me 0.1 Hive or 0.1 of another currency, and I really can start to benefit from the content that I created, right? And again, as a musician, for example, the case of Spotify, right? For example, now I worked it around the Web3 music project, music platform. Same reason, Spotify is paying you 0.0001 each stream you are doing, but I wrote the song, I produced the song, I spent hours to do the songs, I spent money to go in the studio to record this song, and then Spotify is making money on me. Why? So I think this is the future of this could be the future of Web3. I think this is the ideal where Web3 was founded. it, no? Give people the right power on the things they know, on the things they can do. So I see this for the future.
Something that got me really excited on Solana, that's only possible on Solana, is the compressed NFTs. To give you a quick idea, you can mint 1 million NFT for $50. So that's really insane for like ticketing event or something like that. And I did a workshop at an event where no one was on Solana. I'll be very quick, but I talked to them about compressed NFTs, you could get into details now. And I told them to download one application called Vault about music NFTs. And they just had to connect with Google or Apple. That's one click. And then I shared with them the QR code. They had to trust me for the workshop. And they have been able to mint an NFT in under 30 seconds without creating a wallet, without adding any funds, without having all the knowledge of what's a wallet, what's a mint, anything like that. And I think why I got excited, because I think we're in the middle of decentralization and centralization. Because of the fact of the application pays the transaction fee that's ridiculous, you are able to mint an NFT without having to understand what's behind. And in the end, you're the owner of the NFT because you minted it. So that's one of the innovation that I truly like. Like for example, for like 6 months, they've minted over 30 million NFT, and it haven't cost like nothing for 6 months, and they've raised a lot of money because there are like a big potential of more visibility for artists and all, like having a free mint each week. And something that we talk a lot about Solana is that we have great UI and great UX, and we take advantage of it. So when you mint it, you really have great animation, and that's the moment where you enjoy 30 seconds of minting for free something. And that's one of the innovations I truly like, and I think are really interesting for like in the near future, being able to mint the ticket on your application when you go to the supermarket. The users don't even know that's an NFT, but in the end you have all the data. You can go into data scrapping and have even more value for you, more value for the user. I think that's something I'm doing research on, but I really love this innovation.
Yeah, I would like to add something about this is innovation and is also evolution, I think, right? Because yesterday we were thinking about this NFT like big pieces of art, right? People is buying the NFT for 7 million, right? This is the first question people did to me when they know that I was working on Web3 and crypto. Now they say, why people is buying this NFT, why this is 7 million, right? But the point is this, today is one NFT for 7 million because it was the goal, and there are a lot of bit of gray area around this. But the future will be 7 million of NFT for $1. Like a sword for the video games that you need, or a special card, right? So this is also the evolution that Web3 will take on this sense. And back before the things I was talking about tokens, same things for NFT as the utility that a digital asset can have at the end, right? Because naturally in the past 5-6 years, and this also affect the actual fundraising process. In the last 5 years, maybe a lot of project has been financed, a lot of money, because this was the new things, right? New things in the market. So there was also an abuse of use of fundraising, and now that we are on big market, all these funds are not available anymore. A lot of money have been burned for projects that were not really bringing any utility to the Web3 world itself.
I totally agree, like 100%. And I want to add something that most of the people that are outside of Web3 doesn't understand. In the end, NFTs are not meant to be worth a lot. Like in the end, as you said, in gaming, they will have their value based on if people want them or not. But like, would you sell your ticket from the supermarket? No, I don't think so. Would you say something that you just got because it's yours? No, I mean, in the end, NFTs, like 99% of the NFTs in the future will be worthless because they are just here to assure that you've done something, or there are the word, there are proof of something, and sometimes proof of something are just worthless. They are worth for you functionally, but anyone who sees it will be no, I don't care. That's yours. Keep it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we're still like figuring out the uses of the NFTs. And in the future, we'll look back and say, "Oh, we were selling pictures of things." And now that you said something about the bear market, do you think, like, last question, like, do you think it's easier, like, or better to raise capital in bear market or in bull market? And what is it?
I think the answer is easy because when we are in good market, things are going very well for everyone, and everyone will be with you, right, supporting you and take benefits of the profits you can do in every market. VC or other institutional investors could just screw you until the point that you really need money to survive.
So I'm only here since 2019, so I don't have that much experience compared to most of people here. But from what I learned is that in bull market it's way easier to raise funds because everyone has money, so just throw money everywhere. But it's better to raise funds in bear markets if you are a real project, because it will enable you to understand what's your real business plan. Because when you're raising funds to a bull, you'll just be, oh, I get money, it's easy, and be behind, you don't care on your real foundation. While in bear market, you might get less or nothing, but you'll think on how do I get money on my own, and I think that's the best way to grow your project.
Any other question? You want to add one question and then?
Yeah, the general question on Solana specifically, but I imagine I wasn't very clear on which chain you're based on, but given that we seem to be in agreement that by and large most Solana-based token projects are trash, do either of you think that more layers should support restaking as a first-class primitive to help nudge projects away from raising their own token by helping remove the excuse that it's providing economic security?
So if I understood the question, is that how do you give back value to the token of a project? Because right now, I don't know.
No, the issue is that a lot of the trivial knee-jerk response of why we have a token is because, it's because it's staking for a project, therefore the token is providing economic security. But by there being a first-class restaking primitive on chains, you could help remove this excuse, forcing projects to either find an actually useful token or admit that they don't really know what the hell this thing is. So do you think that having a restaking as a first-class primitive would have that impact, or are we still going to be seeing a lot of shitcoins around?
Right now, that's a topic that I don't have knowledge of, so I'm just going to keep my words out. But I want to say something about the tokens. I'm not a very big fan of volatility, especially in small token, as you said, the trash one. So if you have one, the more stable, the better. That's the only answer. The don't answer the question that you have, but it's really out of my knowledge that I don't want to say something that's not
Me too, I don't know if I have a strong opinion on this. Personally, on my side, not speaking in terms of corporate or company. Personally, as a personal investment, I just use it a little amount of money when I started with Web3 to understand this world, to understand what I was doing, also because my job was then to represent this in finance, represent this in accounting. So if I'm not in the other side, working on trying to do these things as I was a user, so I could understand these kind of things. And I pick a lot of little investments, little staking, and usually, you know, this depends because the market is so variable that often you can be lucky. Also, there was a moment where I said, okay, I started at the beginning. I said, okay, I will invest only in Ethereum, right? Because it's a native token. It's the second most important token, and now it's gone down, and I will buy Ethereum. And then the month after, it go down again, and I bought more Ethereum. And then the month after again, and I bought more Ethereum. At the end, I found myself with this Ethereum, and I said, okay, what I should do now? Yes, I should stake them, or my idea was, okay, I will start to differentiate this and start to experiment other, other products, not just staking. For example, I bought a land on the metaverse. I started to do other things not strictly related to investment and staking, because at the end they are quite risky operation, and sometimes by staking with collateral in Ethereum, I also lost the value of the native token. So I have not a strong opinion on this. I think when you want to invest, you need to differentiate investment to mitigate the risk.
Any other question? Not? Finish? Okay. So thank you everyone.